With the third Grandmaster Nightfall of Season 21 comes Psiops Battleground Moon, and man, let me tell you, this one is a doozy. You can get the Braytech Osprey Adept if you are doing the Grandmaster, though there is a bug right now that makes it so that getting Platinum for killing champs is kind of hard to do. It is a little bit glitched, and it seems that even if you do kill all the champs, you still are only going to get gold. There are a few different things that I've heard that can stop this. One, someone was saying that if you kill the last unstoppable ogre last in that first area, sometimes that works. I tried this, it didn't work for me. Other people have been saying if you don't go past the column, then that'll get you platinum. I've tried both of these and I haven't had luck with either one, so I really hope Bungie fixes this. This is a very tough Nightfall since its ad density is very high. You're going to be constantly trying to survive and kill as many enemies as possible. Let's go into the build that I think is best for Titans. First up, I went with Strand. I think Strand is very useful for this Grandmaster, since with Strand, you can actually suspend time and time again. When I actually did it, I liked Rally Barricade a little bit better. I tried both out. Rally Barricade offers a shorter cooldown, and being able to suspend more often is definitely more helpful. Though there are the advantages of if you are being pelted from multiple angles, Towering Barricade can be a little bit better, so if you like Towering Barricade for the safety, do that. I liked Rally Barricade for the quicker reload and for the shorter cooldown. I'm also using Shackle Grenade for, again, that super high amount of suspend. We actually have a build up on the channel. Go check that out if you want to see this full entire build. Doing Into the Fray and Dranger's Lash, so again, more suspend, and with Into the Fray, we're actually giving Woven Mail to our teammates, so that's super useful. Whenever we have a tangle, I'm liking to throw it at my feet, get the Woven Mail for myself, and if any teammates are nearby, they're also getting it, and we're getting a little bit of health boost as well. Going Threat of Mind, Threat of Warding, Threat of Continuity, and Threat of Generation. Generation is super useful for this because I was running Quicksilver Storm, and if you're planning on the last boss phase actually staying back, I recommend a different weapon, and this isn't as necessary. But Threat of Generation with Quicksilver Storm is amazing because as you're shooting time and time again, you're just getting more and more grenade energy, getting your shackle back over and over again. We're doing Continuity for the extra suspend. We're also, anytime we're picking up an orb, getting Woven Mail, which is super useful since when you are going and picking up those tributes, having Woven Mail is super useful for staying alive. And then whenever we defeat suspended targets, we're getting more class ability energy. My favorite loadout was when we were staying back and staying safe in the boss room. So for that loadout, I was using Wish Ender as a primary. I was using Forbearance so I could clear out a lot of the rooms that had high ad density. And I was also running Taipan. Since it is Void, it is getting the overcharge. A lot of people were running machine guns, but honestly, I didn't find the ammo economy to be as good since you do have a lot of ammo, and in the first and second area, it is useful, but when you get to that final boss phase, if you are going to stay back, something like the linear is going to be so much better because you're going to be doing so much more damage. I do have triple tap on this, so that's just going to feed back more free ammo for me as well. The other option to run is going to be Quicksilver Storm. When I was running the up close and personal builds, Quicksilver Storm was amazing. Having that grenade launcher, it would absolutely melt all of the champions, but once it came to the actual boss room, that's where it got a little bit tricky. So if you are planning on staying back on the primary platform, use Wish Ender, but otherwise, if you are going to be out in the main area in the boss room, I'd recommend Quicksilver Storm. For our mods, I was running Kinetic Siphon mod or Strand Siphon mod depending on which weapon you're going to be using as your primary, Heavy Ammo Finder and Heavy Ammo Scout for our teammates and ourselves, Heavy Handed to generate an orb whenever we get a melee kill. This is super useful since we do get Woven Mail. You have 3 melees, and for any acolytes, it takes 2 melees, so you can immediately get a health boost as well as Woven Mail to, try to save yourself in a tricky situation. Momentum Transfer and Focusing Strikes so that whenever we're damaging with our grenade, we get more melee, and whenever we're using our melee, we're getting more class ability energy, feeding back into our abilities. I actually went with a spread for resistances since there is damage from all types. We have the ogres that are doing void and the shriekers that are doing void. We also have knights that sometimes shoot fire. We have the acolytes that are throwing fire grenades, so I also went with solar. And then there is the boomer knights as well as the boss with arc. A lot of people were running double or triple arc resistance. Just for your information, triple doesn't do anything, but running double also didn't really help because you still will get one shot by the boss. So I like to spread it out, get a 15% from all damage types since there are a ton of damage types in this actual GM. I'm going with Absolution, Recuperation, and Better Already. These two for survivability, and Absolution, we want that since, we're going to be using our abilities as much as we can to keep suspending. If we can get those grenades, it's going to be super helpful. I'm also running Bomber just to get our shackle back a little bit quicker if we do use our class ability. And then I'm doing Reaper so that whenever I am using my class ability, I am creating orbs with my weapons on the next kill, so that is super useful. And lastly, I'm also using proximity ward. This was super useful since in this strike, you are going to have to be doing a lot of finishers. There are a few Lucent Knights, so be on the lookout for them. And when you are doing the finisher, you can actually do the finisher on them and their ghost. And both of these times, if you are getting shot, you're going to have an overshield, so you're not actually losing health and potentially gaining health in this process. Well, there's the build. Let's jump right on into some of the tips and tricks to making this Nightfall a little bit easier. So when it came to this first part, you do have a heavy ammo brick right here, so be wary of that. Also, any of these heavy ammo bricks that you see, they aren't actually fully gonna recharge your heavy ammo, so just be wary of that. I did get recording of me using the Quicksilver. I didn't get recording of me using the Wish Ender, but I will talk about some different things that I did like to do when I did have the Wish Ender. But for this part, you want to stay up on this platform here. It's going to give you a decent amount of cover, shoot down all these ads, and then we'll move on to the next part. So now that you've killed all the ads in this area, start moving up. This is where people were saying, if you stay behind this pillar that's right in front of us, up on the left, up that staircase, if you stay behind that, then potentially you're going to get platinum rewards. I don't really know about that, but the ship, as you can see, my teammate's actually shooting on the right. He's shooting the turrets that shoot back at you. I didn't have Wish Ender, so, you know, I wasn't really trying to do it. I was like, okay, maybe I'll help him a little bit, but super easy to do with Wish Ender. It's not so easy to do with Quicksilver Storm, so just be wary of that. You can play either side of this pillar, though playing on the left side is a little bit more free. You have better angles to use. If you are trying to go for platinum, potentially staying there is going to be your best option, but if you don't really care about that, you can move around as much as you want. I wasn't too worried about it. But using this left side, you have a lot of angles you can play. And if the Light Bearer Knight does spawn, just be careful of that. You have a ton of champions in this area, so slowly take them out. Suspend that Unstoppable as much as you can to slow him down. And if the Light Bearing Knight does come out, just be wary. He throws that shield, and that shield can one-shot you. So just try to play it a little bit safe. And, you know, you're going to think that you kill all the ads. Don't push up. There's a little place that up and halfway in between that has a little barrier that people like to push up at, and I've seen time and time again, everyone who pushes up there, they just die. Just stay up here until you've cleared all of the ads out. This is your second Unstoppable here. There's another one after that. Like I said, there's a ton of champions in this area, so take your time, kill everything when you can, and play it safe. Besides that, we'll move on to the next area. So now you've killed all the champs. Off to the left right here by this little midsection is actually a heavy ammo spot. So if you do need more heavy ammo, go and get that. I'm checking to make sure there's no other barrier champions right now, since one of my teammates was saying that killing the unstopped despawns everything, and that's what, you know, gives us platinum, but that didn't seem to be the case, so they finished them off. As you're approaching this area, there's actually two barrier knights. You see them up top. They're jumping down right now. So there are two barrier champs here. You know, I like to suspend them and actually then be able to take them out easily. There are a ton of thralls to start coming. You can actually see them on the left side right now. There are cursed thralls, so be wary of that. I like to use forbearance to clear out the thrall, and then I'm trying to look out for these cursed thrall whenever they're coming. I see them pushing up right now, so I'm trying to push back a little bit, make sure that, you know, they're not going to hurt me. Just be careful of that. As you can see, our teammate doesn't even know. He's completely oblivious there's a cursed thrall in his face. So be careful. There's cursed thrall. Take out these two, and let's move on to the next area. So when you get to this room, there are a few ways to play it. I had one team that one of the warlocks had Phoenix Protocol, and we stayed right here. And he was able to pop his, well, I think 3-4 times, maybe even more than that. So whenever we had tricky situations like champions or light-bearing knights, you know, he'd pop his super and we'd be able to take him out pretty easily. So that is an option. A lot of other teams, they like to pick up this first one, and you have to pick up 3 more. You have to focus on this spot in particular first, I believe. But you do have to dunk that first one, and then people like to hide at this staircase. There's no ads to spawn behind you. This is fairly good, though it is a little bit tricky since, you know, there are ads coming from both sides. Be careful in this first time. Once you dunk that first one, there's going to be an unstop and a barrier champ. So that's why we're staying back. Here's the barrier. The unstop should be pushing up as well. We're going to take them out, and then we're going to start focusing on getting those next 3 tributes so that we can dunk those. Now that we've taken out both of those champs, as you can see, we're just trying to zone in on these tribute wizards. So we're taking them out. If you have a teammate that is going to be a hunter that can go invisible, that's best option. Otherwise, you have woven mail and you can spend, and anytime you do suspend, you get woven mail. So if you do have your shackle grenade, you can easily go and pick it up, or you can use your melee to kill and create an orb, and that'll also give you woven mail. Our teammate popped his super and went and picked him up, and now he's dunking him right now. So now that he's dunked him and we actually have 4 in, as you can see, there's a Shrieker that spawns, and that happens anytime you're dunking the first and the second set of 4 and completely wiping out one of these areas. You can suspend them, don't forget that. It's super useful. They can absolutely beam you, so suspending them is super helpful. There's a ton of thralls that spawn at this time as well, and I believe this is when we have our 2 light-bearing knights as well as potentially 2 champions to take care of. So we're going to focus on them, and right now what I like to do is focus on one side. I like to tell my teammate I'm going right, and you can suspend them and it takes them completely out of their super. Or what I like to do, I like to use my super. Thankfully we got a suspend on them, but I like to pop my super, go fully take one of them out, and then like I said, when they're getting low you can actually finish, and then you'll have an overshield. As you see me do right here, I have an overshield and then finish again, double overshield. So now I got my health fully back. Thankfully I'm still in my super, and now we're going to take this side. So now that we finish the main area, we're hanging out on the right side. Nothing spawns behind you, so you can just hide back here. There are a few ads on the left side that spawn, but mainly careful of the staircase and just past the staircase. For some reason, the light-bearing knight came all the way over to this side. I don't know why or how he did that. I was able to, stun him with my suspend, take him out of his super. So again, you can suspend these guys. Keep that in mind. Double finisher, finish him off. Don't forget to finish the ghost off. And then now that we've taken both of those guys out, we can start focusing on these tributes. So keep in mind, you can only hold 3 tributes. So I grabbed 1 and my teammate had the other 3. And again, we finished this complete side. So we're having a Shrieker spawn. I realized I didn't have my shackle, so I jumped down, and then I get it. So I jump back up and shackle him. Again, Shrieker is basically non-existent because I've done that. You do have champions spawn at this point, so just be careful of that. Try to not push too much, but once you take out these champions, you can start moving over to the other side, especially if you do get a couple of those wizards down and pick up a few of those tributes. Try to get all 4 and then immediately go over to the other side and dunk them, and then everything should despawn after a few seconds. It takes a little bit of time, so just be wary of that, and then move on from there. That's the end of it. So again, what we did, we started at the main staircase. We pushed to the back side of that staircase and then held that until we got all 4, killing those champions. The Shrieker spawns, kill the Shrieker. Go either right or left, doesn't matter. And then finish off that side. Again, kill the Shrieker and the champions, and then move over to the other side. Slowly but surely, just play it safe. You have a ton to suspend, so suspend as often as you can. And don't be afraid to use your super if you need to. So now we push out of there. When we're getting to this part, there are 2 unstoppable ogres, and right here, right where I'm standing right now, there's actually a Shrieker that can spawn if you push too far backwards. So right basically where those unstoppables are, that's where you kind of want to hang out until you clear out a lot of the acolytes. Once you've cleared out a lot of the acolytes and potentially those 2 wizards on the side, then you can move up underneath where the boss is if you need cover, and use those staircases to your advantage. But be careful, do not push back any further than I am right now, or that Shrieker can mess you up. So just be wary of that. Don't push backwards at this point. Kill these guys and then move on. So now that we've killed those, we have a hive wizard on the left side and the right side, and a bunch of acolytes in the middle. Forbearance is great for this part as well. And just be careful, they throw a ton of fire. I don't know why my teammate was on that side of it, but it's okay. We're going to suspend, we're going to hang out and just chill until we can pick them up. Try to take out these 2 wizards as quick as you can. Once that the boss actually goes into her super, be careful. She shoots those laser beams of arc, and they can't one-shot you, but they can do a ton of damage. So just be wary of those. Again, use your suspend as much as you can. That's what I did right there. I suspended a few of them, was able to take them out. I moved to the other side. I don't like standing right next to my teammates on this part in case both of you die. My teammate, I knew he was going to res him, so I'm doing my best to stay alive, but they absolutely beam. So, poke, peek just a little bit, and then go back undercover, take them out, and then you can play underneath if you want to. Sometimes I like to stay here. It's up to you. Just make sure you're not too close to teammates so you're not both dying at the same time. So once you get them about at this point, they're actually going to be able to take them away. So it's not a full third, but it is pretty close to a full third of damage. So just take note of that. Go pick up any heavy ammo you can or any other ammo you need, and then you're going to be teleported into this next area. When you actually land right here on this platform, this is where a lot of people like to do damage. So if you do have Wish Ender, this is a great spot to use it. I didn't, so I like to push forward and potentially do damage up there. And in this one, I stayed back. I didn't realize that's what we were doing, but this is when my teammate was telling me that, you know, it's a great idea because none of the boss or anything like that can really hit you. So I wish I had Wish Ender for this run so that I could do a ton more damage, but because I didn't, I was doing what I can, and it would have been a lot quicker if I did have Wish Ender. So if you are going to play up here, use Wish Ender. I have a couple times where, you know, I pushed up in there, and it's definitely a bit more dangerous to go in there and, you know, be potentially on the left side taking some angles, and there's a little room you can hide in. But if you are up there, Quicksilver Storm is great. But for the boss fight, Wish Ender's best if you're staying up here, and you can land right below this. There's a little bit of rock. You land on that and then quickly jump up, and that's how you get back up here. So after we had cleared out a bunch of the ads, I ended up pushing up here, and I was hanging out for a while, just doing damage from this top left area. The boss will pretty much stay in the middle the whole time. We get her down to a third, and now this is where the first tricky part really happens. You do have a bunch of ads that spawn, but you also have an aspect of the boss that spawns, and those things can hurt. So just be mindful of them, and, you know, be wary that they can pretty much one-shot you with that wave. They also throw an arc volley at you that can do a ton of damage. So just try to always be aware of where they are. Kill the ads first so that you can go pick up those spears. That's what I'm trying to do right here. So there should be a barrier champ and an unstoppable champ. Kill both of them, and then you can go and pick up the spear, and just always keep moving. That way, you know, the boss can't really hit you. So try to stay, like, if she's going to go on the right side, try to go on the left side so that she can't reach you, and vice versa. Stay back so that they actually can't reach you. But clear out the ads first, then go pick up the spear. This is one of the hardest parts since the spear's in the middle. And when you get to the next part, if you just burn down one of the sides, you should be good. So go and pick up the spear once you've cleared out all the ads. Be mindful, her little wave that she shoots out is about a 10-second timer in between. So if you just see one go out, start mentally taking note of, has it been 10 seconds yet? And if it's close to, you know, 9 seconds, don't try to go and get the thing because you might end up dying. Just wait for that next wave and then go back out there and get it. So we've already done one phase with a spear. So as you can see, I know that I have time. You can use your teleport, which is your grenade muscle. I know that it's on my right side, so I'm going completely over to the left side. I'm staying back, and these things track pretty hard. So if you need to, you know, just go behind a little pole or something and just like throw it kind of in that area. And the further you are away, the easier it is for it to track. I didn't get to get off a bunch of spears, but somehow it teleported on me. So I'm a little bit in panic mode, but, you know, I'm just trying to get to the other side so I don't die. You know, just try to play it safe. That's the biggest thing. You know, you could potentially run out of time, but if you do have the time, play it safe. It's better than playing it sorry and, you know, potentially dying. So I noticed that it's almost dead, so I'm trying to do a bunch of damage. I'm trying to watch those arc waves. I know that it's actually shooting at my teammates, so I'm fine. You know, finally finish it off, and now we're gonna have the boss spawn again, so I'm trying to get back up to my safety area. The boss at this point can either go the left or the right. I've seen both. I don't know what triggers it to go left or right, so just be careful that it's not always gonna go to the right or to the left. In this case, it went right. I've had one time where in second phase it went left, so just be careful of that. You're not guaranteed for it to go on one side or the other. I don't know what causes it to go to the other side. What we like to do here is take out the Boomer Knights. I can believe respawn, but it takes a long time if they do respawn. So I like to take out the Knights so that they're not, you know, shooting at us. And at this time, there can be Acolytes that come up behind us, so just be a little bit careful of that. And in the meantime, poke down the boss until you get to this next phase of aspects. Since this isn't the really hard part, take your time. You can use your heavy ammo here since, you know, this is the only other time you can really use your heavy ammo unless you're using it on champs. So don't be afraid to do that. I'm saving my super until the very end, so that way I'm not putting myself in a tricky position. So if you are on the main platform doing damage from afar, be note that once you do get to this final third and those aspects spawn, you can start doing damage right away. So we're already over here on the left side, and we can go and get those spears pretty much immediately and start burning down this left one. So that's why we're sitting here. We're waiting for the spear to spawn. We decided to take out the left one because we feel we have a little bit more cover. So we just start doing damage as much as we can. Our objective is to burn this one down as quick as we can so we have room to work with. So we're doing a ton of damage. We know the thing's about to spawn, so we're getting out of the way. You can duck back into this room. Stay away from the walls, because if you are close to the walls, I believe sometimes it can actually kill you. Again, poke and peek as much as you can. Just be careful. And if it starts pushing on top of you, we had one teammate that was actually still sitting up there on the platform, keeping an eye out. So it was just the two of us, and we're just doing the damage that we can when we can. And we'll slowly but surely whittle this guy away. And as soon as this guy is down, it's easy peasy and nothing else really to worry about. So as you can see, we're whittling this guy down. He's almost down. Our teammate ends up finishing him off. And at this point, it's just the one across. So now we have a free spear on the left side that has complete cover. And I believe that aspect pretty much always stays on the right side. I don't think it can actually come over here now. So it's staying over there. And from afar, like I said, these things have massive tracking. It seemed like everything that I was throwing was just pretty much hitting it if it was in the general area. So just stay over here and poke and prod. Be careful. You do have a few ads that can hit you. If you do, just back up a little bit. Play it safe. And then that's it. You just have like 1 or 2 acolytes to worry about. You have a free spear to use at your pleasure. So take out either the right or left side. It doesn't matter which one, but take one of the sides out and then you're good to go. That's it. So now we've killed the last aspect. I do like to go back up to this top platform. It might be a little bit slower since I don't have Wish Ender, but it's okay because, you know, at this point, it's just a matter of time. And if nothing can do damage to us, if you do hit the 45-minute mark, you will actually lose your ability to revive, but it doesn't matter because you can still kill them. So take your time, do the damage, and you should be able to clear it at this point. Once you get to this point, it's home free. So the boss did get pretty low on health, so I decided to go use my super. It was technically a tad bit earlier because I try to do as much damage as I can, but unfortunately I run out of my super and I get wiped out. It wasn't a big deal because I know my teammates are still going to be able to kill them, but you know, make sure that their health bar is super low so that when you get there with your super, you can actually do a ton of damage. And just like that, we killed the boss. Don't forget to finish the boss. You actually have to finish off the ghost, so just be mindful of that. If you kill the boss from afar, be sure to run there as quick as possible to finish that ghost. And just like that, you finish Psiops Battleground Moon. What feels to be one of the, if not the hardest GM in the game. With that, that's a GG well played. See y'all guys next week.